Yo, what's going on, guys? Desi here, and I quickly want to go over the recap for today's trading day and kind of go over the trades we took and how we did today. So going into the market open, right? What I saw was that NQ had actually violated this daily fair value gap. So my bias was to the upside in the morning and then kind of fade towards the PM session because I did want NQ to tap back into this fair value gap as an inverse gap this time, and then start melting back down to our weekly draw on liquidity. So what you guys want to notice here at open, right? So we had this 15-minute, right? We had this 15-minute inverse gap here going into open today, and we're kind of hovering right above it. We also had this 15-minute breaker. So my bias was if we sweep those London lows, hold that 15-minute area, we are going to look for some upside on the longs, and that's exactly what we got on the 1-minute chart. So we opened up today a New York session, and what I want, what I always mark out is my London lows, previous session highs or lows will act as areas of liquidity. So this was our area of sell side. I'm going into just open up New York. So we had our London low right here, and as you guys can see, to no surprise, we come down, sweep these lows, and now we start displacing back to the upside right around here. So, I was just waiting for some structure to form, a break of structure for a value gap and take it to the, most recent high. And that's pretty much the setup that I took this morning. What I noticed was that we had this fair value gap right here. And we also had this 1-minute inverse fair value gap right here. I told the Discord, we're going to take longs in this inverse fair value gap. So right around here. And also if we tap back into this 1-minute fair value gap down here, we'll also look to long this as well. So we got our fill 1, fill 2. And as you guys can see, we caught a very nice move to upside. And the rest of my runners were actually, stopped out at break even here, even though we didn't hit that pre-market high. Now, even though we got stopped out on our runners, this was about a 40-point move on ES from our average, right? And then I was looking at this area to still hold. So what we did was we came down right around the 715. We took out the previous low that we created within this fair value gap. And then I was just looking for another break of structure and fair value gap to actually enter a trade. So I noticed a 1-minute structure forming right here. And, the structure overall was still bullish. We were holding this 1-minute fair value gap. We still had, we created some equal highs here at 64 as well. And then we also left this high, still untouched. So I was watching that area to, go and get ran through. So what I noticed was we had some structure here, another break of structure. Same thing as the first play, right? Fair value gap, we got my fair value gap entry, and then we took out this high. Now, I was bullish until we took out 1520 on ES. So this was a previous New York session highs, right? We had some relative equal highs up here that we were formed yesterday, and we didn't come take them out. But today, as you guys can see, previous session lows and highs will act as liquidity, and what we got was a liquidity sweep on this area and a break of structure back to the downside. Now keep in mind what I was talking about, right? That daily inverse fair value gap is going to be a very important. Note where this is, 1523 price action, right? That's where the price is. If you go on the daily chart, you can see 1523 is tapping back into this inverse fair value gap. So now these sweeps that were happening on the buy side, I was waiting for a bigger displacement happening on the 5 and 15 to kind of play the trend reversal within this fair value gap. Note that the drawn liquidity is still going to be this low right here, this weekly low. Then we'll tap into the weekly and monthly FEG. We could take it back to the upside, but until then, I am bearish. So the overall draws at 611. Price, I was telling everyone in the Discord, I was like, if we come down during the PM session, wait for this fair value gap to get violated, right? The last thing you want to do is enter a trade prematurely, and especially when we're having a trend day, what I like to do is to wait for a 15 or 5-minute inverse fair value gap to form and actually take that inverse gap. So what do we get? We got the inverse fair value gap happen, right? We came down, no retracement until around 1210, 1215. We got our retracement back into this inverse gap, and now it makes sense, right? We're rejecting off of a daily inverse fair value gap. We broke structure to the downside. This 15-minute gap flipped to an inverse, and we also have our drawn liquidity, which is lower for rest of the week or rest of the month, going into that 600 area on NQ. We tap right back into this inverse fair value gap, and this is where I tell everyone take puts 2 weeks out, and that's exactly what we did. We got our fills, everyone got their fills, and we pretty much got a top tick entry on this, and they ran about 40% in 30 minutes. So really good move for our 2 week out contract. We have our trims We took 2 trims already, and the rest of them will be stops at break even or displacement above this back above this area. So that's the trades that we caught today. Overall, it was an amazing week. I think we took only 1 loss, and we caught some very, very heavy winners this week on NQ and ES. So I hope this recap helps. If you guys have any questions, DM me on Discord or Twitter. More than willing to help you guys out anytime. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.